Prime Minister Carney is calling out Israeli government for denying aid into Gaza, saying this denial is a violation of international law. In a post on X last night, Prime Minister condemned the Israeli government's, quote, failure to prevent the rapidly deteriorating humanitarian disaster in Gaza. He reiterated calls for Hamas to release all the hostages and for Israeli government to respect territorial integrity of the West Bank and Gaza. The Prime Minister said Canada supports a two-state solution which guarantees peace and security for Israelis and Palestinians. Meantime, earlier Thursday, France became the first major Western nation to say it will soon recognize a Palestinian state, a move condemned by both Israel and the United States. Let's now invite Thomas Warwick, Senior Fellow, Snowcroft Middle East Security Initiative, Atlantic Council. Good morning and thanks for your time. Mideast negotiators have been recalled in the latest developments. What does that indicate to you when the president says Hamas didn't want a deal and his chief negotiator says we'll now consider other options?
Yes, good morning to you and to your viewers. So the impasse we are at is over several key points. First, Hamas actually increased the number of prisoners it wanted Israel to release in exchange for freedom for 10 of the living hostages that Hamas has been holding since October 7, 2023. Second is that Hamas is still insisting that there be an end to the war in a way that would allow it to regain power in Gaza. And to Israel, that is unacceptable. So the parties are at an unbridgeable difference. There was hope that we would be able to start at least a short-term ceasefire, but with Hamas insisting on what amounts to a victory scenario for it, it's not surprising that the talks are not making progress right now. The expectation is that with the pullback of U.S. and Israeli negotiators back to their capitals, Hamas is under pressure to agree to something that would allow the talks to continue, but that would not assure a Hamas victory.
In other major developments as well regarding this, we know that France has said they will recognize a Palestinian state in September. Meantime, Prime Minister Carney of Canada is saying denying aid in Gaza is a violation of international law. Now, President Trump reacted to that statement from France saying it doesn't matter. It holds no weight. How do you think this is going to play out between allies?
Well, the reality is that the only country whose acceptance of a Palestinian state is really important is actually Israel. And we saw a vote in the Knesset today that was non-binding, but that would call for Israel to take more control over the West Bank, which is obviously a very concerning development, even though it is non-binding. This is the challenge that Prime Minister Carney has rightly pointed to, is that we need both sides to accept the idea of a two-state solution. And right now, Hamas is not accepting that, and some Israelis are not accepting it. So the immediate challenge is getting more humanitarian aid into the people of Gaza, exactly as the Prime Minister has said. And there are clearly efforts underway to try to do that, but they, I have to say, need to be increased substantially.
Right. Thomas Warwick, appreciate your time and your insights. Thank you for joining us.